Well, killing two birds with one stone, driving home and recording my Hot Fudge Sunday for this week. This week in church we talked about truth. Well, that's not totally true. We didn't really talk about truth as much as we talked about lying. We talked about professional liars. We were looking at 1 Timothy chapter 4. In fact, for the next couple of weeks, we're going to go through the whole of 1 Timothy chapter 4. So we looked at 1 Timothy 4, 1 through 5 today. And we talked about the concept of professional liars. And we talked about what is a professional liar. And a professional liar, basically, when you boil it down to, is someone who has lost all capacity for truth. Meaning that they've lied so much that their lies become their truth, and that they're so good at lying in every situation that all they're really concerned about is getting what they want in any given moment. Whatever they need to say or whatever they need to do in order to get what they want at any time makes someone a professional liar, because you start to morph and you become whatever you need to become in any given moment. Not thinking about the future, not thinking about the ramifications, not thinking about the fact, well, if I tell this lie now, then I'm going to have to cover my tracks and do 2 or 3 more lies to make up for it. No, you don't think about that. All you're thinking about is, in this moment, I want to avoid pain. In this moment, I want to receive a reward. In this moment, I want to, whatever it might be. So in order for me to accomplish that, this is what I need to do, or this is what I need to say. And so that is a professional liar. And the unfortunate reality is that many people deal with professional liars on a regular basis. And most professional liars are so good at it that you don't even realize they're lying. They seem very sincere, they seem very caring, and they might be sincere, caring people. It's just that they have gotten so good at lying that their lies have become their truth, and they will do anything in their power to make sure that they avoid pain or receive a reward or get whatever it is that they want out of any specific certain situation. And so when we take a look at that, we were taking a look in this passage from Timothy, 1 Timothy 4, 1 through 5, at the fact that there are people that will give up the faith based on what professional liars will say. And we understand that people do give up the faith. I get it. People give up on the faith. They give up the faith because of some kind of traumatic experience that they have in their life. They give up on faith because they're bored. I've met so many people that said that they don't believe anymore, or they wouldn't consider themselves a Christian anymore, because they never had the mountaintop experience. They never had the miracle happen. They never, saw the bleeding statue. They never heard the voice in the wind or anything like that. And so they just kind of got bored. They were just kind of going through the motions, and so that's why they've given up on the faith. And some people give up on faith because of lies. There are some people, maybe some of you that are watching this right now, that don't believe in Jesus, don't consider yourself a Christian, because somewhere down the road someone has told you a lie. And that lie is something you've taken as the truth, and it's not true. But yet you've internalized it, and that lie has become your truth now. And it affects the way that you view God. It affects the way that you view creation. It affects the way that you view yourself and your own salvation, your own relationship with God. And that's what we're talking about in 1 Timothy chapter 4, verses 1 through 5, is that sense of the lies. Now, the lies that were being referenced there were, about eating certain foods that you shouldn't eat, even though we know that all things are good. That God has created all things, and through that all things are good. Which leads us to our last point, which was, because there's always going to be 3 points. Number 3, my Lord. There's always going to be 3 points. And the third point was that everything is sacred. Everything is sacred. There's no such thing as secular. For those who declare a faith in Jesus, who follow Jesus, nothing is secular in this world anymore. Everything is sacred. A video being shot in my car on the way home is sacred. The time that I spend at home with my family is sacred. The time that I spend at church is sacred. The time I spend in my classroom is sacred. Any time, any place that I am or anything that I'm doing, it's a sacred act. There's no such thing as secular anymore. We lose the opportunity of being able to have that safety net, so to speak, to say, well, that's just a secular thing. But it's not. It's a sacred thing. And so we were looking at this fact that everything that we touch, everything that we're a part of, because of our presence with it, because of our faith in Jesus, becomes sacred. And it's important for us to treat it that way. It becomes important for us to live in that moment that way, that it is all sacred and it's not secular. And that will definitely impact the way that you look at it and the way that you understand things. And so the concept of truth, I guess that is truth, was a topic of conversation today, but it was more about lying. And I know that we get good at lying, and that's something that we've got to work on. The way that we work on it is that first and foremost we understand that everything is sacred. So it's a little bit harder to lie in a situation when you know that situation is sacred. Very easy to lie in a situation if you think it's secular. It doesn't really matter. It's secular. It's secular. It doesn't really matter. But it's sacred, and you shouldn't be lying in sacred spaces. That's something. Even the kind of the worst of the worst knows that they shouldn't go into a church and lie. And why is that? Because it's a sacred space. Well, if you consider that every area of your life is a sacred space, then that kind of helps you to take care of the lying business. So next week we're going to come back together and we're going to pick up in verse 6 of chapter 4. Like I said, we're going to run through the whole chapter 4, focusing on teaching people through our lives, the way that we live, who we are, not just what we do. So I hope that you will come and join us next week. And if you can't join us, I hope that you will tune in and you will watch Hot Fudge Sunday next week. Until then, may this week have a great you. We'll see you soon.